Hi everyone, it's Kristen Redmond, and today we're going to be talking about those planetary aspects and influences that are around us this week, November 22nd through the 28th, and what's getting us through this Thanksgiving holiday coming up here. The first thing that's really happened since we talked last was on Sunday. Our sun transited from the zodiac sign of Scorpio, which is a water sign dealing with deep emotion and introspection, into the sign of Sagittarius. Excuse me there. Into the sign of Sagittarius, which is a fire sign, and it brings us a lot of needed heat and warmth and light that we've needed in this little bit of a time of darkness. And the sign of Sagittarius represents totally just following your heart and having the heart of an explorer and exploring new things, finding the truth in a situation, and having fun. That's like the number one main thing about Sagittarian energy and people is they really just want to have fun with life. And that's what we need to do right now after going through such a serious transit of looking at those things that we want to change and um, just finally having enough. I definitely would say that the past few months have been about drawing a line in the sand and saying, I have had enough. And a lot of that has to do with that Neptune retrograde that we talked about last week. Remember, Neptune represents our dreams and our intuition and illusion. So when it's in retrograde, there are things that we start to realize that have been hidden from us, or dreams that we're having that we totally don't understand, and that we know that they're trying to get a message through. When I say they, I mean the angels are trying to bring us messages, and we're just not quite following. Beginning of June, there we had Neptune going into retrograde, so a lot of that started happening. And we also had another planetary item, I guess you could call it. It's not really a planet, but it's kind of the size of one. It's a gigantic asteroid that's called Chiron. Chiron also went into retrograde around that same time. This was more towards the end of June. It was June 24th it went retrograde. But that Chiron represents the greatest wound in our life. And depending on where it's at in your birth chart, it'll represent where in your lifetime you're going to have that deepest scar. And for some people, it may be in the house of marriage, or some people, it may be in the house of early childhood. Some people, it's in the house of career or children. Everybody's different. So if you don't know it and you want to know, contact me and we can do a reading and I can tell you exactly where it's at and how and if it's being aspected now by that current Chiron that's transiting, because the energy is going to be really intense at that point. Chiron represents that greatest wound, and it's not only the greatest hurt you have in your life, but as a great healer, it also represents how you will be able to heal people the most in your lifetime by working through this energy, working through that hurt, and helping others that are experiencing that same thing at that same time. So uh, that is going direct on Sunday, the 28th. And so it takes a couple of days to really feel that effect, but when Chiron goes retrograde, we are kind of forced to deal with that past wound. So, like, let's say you've got a past wound that's in early childhood, let's say, and especially with Neptune being in retrograde at that same exact time, you may all of a sudden start feeling like there was something that happened in your childhood that's been hidden from you, and but you're not quite figuring out what it is. And then all of a sudden, Neptune goes direct last week, and right now you start really feeling those, especially over the weekend. Last weekend, you really can start feeling that energetic pull, saying, wait a second, all of a sudden something comes to light, something that was hidden in that Neptune retrograde energy. All of a sudden, now that it's direct, it's saying, boom, here it is. Now what, right? And in that same energy, we have Chiron, that greatest wound that's from early childhood, let's say, like we just started that. Sorry, I got a little off topic there. Where that wound is at. Now that transiting, even though it's in retrograde, it still has been traveling all these years, and then all of a sudden now, if this massive event that happens in that June 24th until recently, that time frame where something massive has happened, a breakup, a death, something major has happened that has shaken you very, very much so. In that transit, that's Chiron doing that, forcing you to heal this wound from early childhood. It happens for that reason, because this loss that you had triggers it. It triggers that emotion because you've repressed it so much and it has to come out. So I'll do a blog post on the Chiron and really what that energy really means. Um, by the end of the week, I will have that up there. So those of you that have been feeling this transit this year will understand it a little better. But so you've got that going on. You've got the Neptune energy. All of a sudden now these things are being brought to light and you're forced to deal with them. But there's a reason, because once you've dealt with them, you've healed the past of all that pain because you finally let it go, and you're also able to deal with the current hurt so much better, and you're able to move forward in your life. So you've got like a 2-for-1 deal. You've healed the past, you've healed the future, and you're ready to move on. And that's what we want here. That was the whole point of this massive, heavy Scorpion transit. And then we dumped all of it into that new moon, like I talked about last week. You say, this is what I don't want anymore. This is what I want to change. And now that the full moon is happening tonight on the 25th, we see visibly in the sky the illumination of all the possibilities that we've put into it, all of the change that we want to happen. And the wonderful news is, now that we've gone into the Sagittarian energy of exploration and truth, we are going to find what we need. And interestingly enough, where that sun in Sagittarius is at right now, it's in the 11th house of social groups and friendship and community. So we're going to have this desire, because our moon is in Gemini. We have this inner desire. That's what our moon represents, our inner needs. We have this inner desire to get into that Gemini energy of communication and socialization. We're going to feel driven to explore in our Sagittarian energy. We're going to be driven to communicate with new people. And we're going to find a lot of those answers that we've been asking for this year, saying, oh, I can't handle this boyfriend anymore. He's terrible. Or, oh, I can't handle not having a job anymore, and I need something new and I need something fresh. Right now, they're pushing us to move from this time of having our heels stuck in the mud and introspection to moving forward and exploring these new areas, because we're going to find those people that bring us those opportunities that we've been praying and hoping for. And they are coming. They are coming soon. If you've put in that work through this difficult transit since June, you're going to find what you need. And the good thing is with that Sagittarian energy is it's a fun energy behind it. So we've got a lot of good things. I mean, that's a lot for a week to have happen. A lot of things have come to light, and a lot of goods right behind it to make it better. And so with that, I want to do a card reading to kind of touch on whatever it is the angels think are most important. The emotion card I'll draw that goes with that also, and perhaps a rock if my Kindle doesn't die on me, because it's just about to die. So if it shuts off, that's why. But here we go. So I feel that it's Archangel Raziel that's coming through. That's the Angel of Dreams, and I have a feeling he's going to help us understand a little bit more right now with that. He's like a magician angel. So he's telling me to go 4 times. I'm going to do that. Like I said, he's a magician angel, and he's able to fix things miraculously and help us also to do that. He's the color of a rainbow. He has all the healing properties of all the colors. So see what his information is here for this new transit. Okay. It's the 9 of Earth, and the 9, any kind of suit that you have, it goes from 1 to 10. So when you get to 10, you're at the very end. Number 1 is the very beginning. The ace cards are the beginning, and this is 9. So we're almost at the end. That's what I love about this. And with it being an Earth card, that represents physical things. That represents money, the physical body, your health. Anything that's physical and tangible, that's what the Earth suit represents. And this card particularly says, enjoying life's spending quiet time alone and successful self-employment. So there's a lot of good things. Obviously, each person that hears this will see a different part of it, what is being told with them from working through that hard transit into this acceptance and moving forward. You can see where that's a wonderful thing. For the rest of us, I see it as we are almost to the end here. We have a lot of good things coming. There we go. And the energy that goes behind it emotion-wise here. And I know there's a planetary aspect that's tied with that, so I'm going to check that out in just 1 second. A lot of times the card itself may not necessarily be the message they want. It's those planetary influences. So let's get this emotion card. here. Whoa. Okay, a lot of emotion, eh? Okay, I'm going to take this one here, this impartiality. Okay, let's see what that planetary aspect is with that really quickly. Let me double check, because that will give us a little bit more information. I'm almost there. Okay. Venus and Virgo, and how interesting is that? We were just talking about Venus last week. Okay, Venus is that planet of love and money. So Venus, where it's at right now, is in the sign of Libra, and that's about balance. So what they're just reminding you is, hey, those of you that are having a lot of issues with those money and those love, those tangible type things with real life, being a human type issues, understand that that is coming to an end. Venus is the planet of love and money, and Libra, the sign that it's in, is its home. That's where it belongs, and that's about balance. Balance is coming for those things, and how ironic is that we have this impartiality where it represents that balance. It represents looking at the other people's side of the story, of the situation, also. So I feel like they're kind of getting that point across too, that we really have to, hold on, I feel like there's one word in here. They're telling me there's one word in here. Hold on. Open-mindedness, fairness, allowing things to unfold. And that's totally if you're still working through, because like I said, that Chiron transit's happening right now. And though it may seem like something drastic is happening directly to you, it really isn't. You have to look at the other person's side of the story. This is what this whole impartiality card represents, seeing that other side, seeing the truth of the situation, and bringing them together. So that's kind of where we're at for that energy for the week. Just keep in mind that we're getting really close to the end. Keep everybody in mind, keep an open mind and a fair mind, and just look forward to a wonderful holiday with your family and enjoy life's little luxuries like they told us. So we will talk again next week and see where the planets, what they have energetically for us next week, and have a wonderful Thanksgiving, everybody. Goodbye.